Welcome everybody, excuse me, welcome everybody to the American Space Museum. I'm Marquette. We're so glad you're with us to stay curious. Let me clear that frog out of my throat here with a nice cold beverage. Thank you there. And with it hot all over our country, Marty Winkel, my co-producer, and I've chosen this cool moon, a very cold moon. What moon is it? What planet is it around? This is a moon that could have life on it and is the top target to find life by the European Space Agency. So stay curious about what your ESA wants to do with that, what this moon is, and chime in there if you would. Marty, did I grab I have my tablet over here. Got real prepared today for today's show as usual, and I'm just fumbling around here. So hope that you stick around, everybody, and enjoy some space history. We've got 5 astronaut birthdays on this date, June 20th. And today's June 20th, 2024, of course. And let me get my YouTube smart tablet up here. We'll get things going here in just a second and get your answer some of your questions out there and just see who's watching today. So haven't seen it popped up yet, Marty. It'll be up there in a minute. But welcome everybody to Saturday. We've got a very important auction for the museum. We've been talking about that. Some items that are just incredible, like this Black Cat 13 patch that was STS 41C, I believe, the 13th shuttle in the program. And I'm looking here on my smart tablet to see you all poking up there. I don't see it yet. So, oh, there we go. I have to hit that. Wow, it's hard to. There we go. Now I'm where I need to be to. About that, some items that are just. Hear my cell phone there. Steve Jokums. Hello to Stay Curious Gang. Thank you, Steve. Enjoyed talking to you this morning. Dave Stangy's watching with his granddaughter Mia. So hey, Grandpa. Hi, Mia. Hope that you're going to stay curious a little bit today. And Dave Stangy mentions I got a nice picture of the moon the other night up in Michigan. And you'll all be getting some moonshine over the rest of this week and during the weekend, as we got a full moon on Friday, and we'll talk about that. Mark Thiel's saying good afternoon from Minnesota. And we've got, there, I just waved at Mia on there. There's my delay. And Mitch is watching his manned space flight NASA situation there. And good afternoon to you, Mark Usiak and Doug Forrest. Hello to you guys. So happy to call you all my friends. Let me show you my bald spot as I drop down there. Jeez. And yeah, we're going to talk about some good stuff today. We're going to get into a little bit of moonshine, but we want you to get into our auction. It's fun to watch, even if you don't have much dough to spend. It's a fun thing to watch and very educational. You'll learn a lot about space artifacts thanks to Chuck Jeffrey, Bid Again Auctions owner or board member, and has basically saved the museum over the years with the revenue from these auctions. So, yes, sirree, it is the first day of summer, everybody, though we've all been thinking it's summer. The big heat dome over the Midwest and Northeast part of the country. 4:51 p.m. here, so about when we're going off air, the sun will be at its furthest point north on our globe. That is called the Tropic of Cancer. Of course, many of you familiar with going to school in elementary school, and on the teacher's desk was a globe that was always tilted, all right, and spun around like that. Was against our green screen. It looks pretty cool like that, but it is tilted at 23.5 degrees. And as the picture up front shows you there at the top, we are one of the few planets tilted like this. Something hit us and knocked us over. Also knocked over Mars, okay, at about 23 degrees. Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, they're all straight up and down. Venus is also straight up and down, but backwards. Something knocked it completely over 180 degrees. It rotates west to east. And Mercury's pretty straight up and down. So this is a sign of something in the early days of the solar system whacked us. And that's why we have the seasons. Otherwise, wherever you lived, it'd basically be the same weather all year long. So the longest day of the year. And hey, to Cliff Watson down in Pomona, Australia, and Scott Polk in Tasmania, we know that it's the first day of winter for you in the Southern Hemisphere. Our good friends in Brazil, also Jefferson Michaelis Foundation in Brazil, they're bemoaning it getting colder down there as we're actually further away from the sun in the summer and closest to the sun in January. All right, 93 million miles average. We're about 96 million miles away from the sun right now. So I see that question, Marty. Dave Stange goes, when was the last time the first day of summer was on the 20th? I'm not sure. Usually it's around the 21st. All right. This is, again, celestial mechanics that changes things. And all these dates are just arbitrary for human beings to keep track of things. So, but yeah, usually the 21st, sometimes the 22nd. So it varies between those 3 days. Thanks for the question there, Dave. I'm sure Mia's impressed with your intelligence there. But love to have the little ones watching. I got a couple grandbabies, and they watch from time to time too. So, well, let's get to the something I didn't grab notes on. This is Starliner. Starliner is scheduled to come down on the 25th, I believe, next Tuesday. They've been up there for almost 3 weeks when they come back. They're still checking the thruster issues. This is Starliner against a beautiful part of our country. I think that's the Middle East. So Sonny Williams and Commander Butch Wilmer got an extended stay from the 10 days they thought. They want to make sure all these thrusters are working right. 5 or 6 of the 18 thrusters are acting up. It's not the thrusters per se, it's the part of the thruster that clears the lines for the hypergolic fuels, and that is helium because of the lines. So something's going on with that they're bleeding a little bit of helium. But I think it'll be all fine. And the astronauts are safe, and we get them safely back by putting 6 people instead of 4 in a Crew Dragon. Yeah, Marty.
Mark, I don't know if you read this morning's paper. What they're explaining there was it's a problem with the service module, not so much the thrusters, and they want to keep the Starliner in, I'll say, in orbit, so they can do some more testing on the service module, because the service module doesn't come back, like you know.
Right.
So that's what the paper said this morning.
Okay. And in this picture, we see the service module has the thrusters on it too, like the Gemini service module had. Yeah, fluid situation there. They're only going to let you know what they have to let you know. I need to check with CBS reporter Bill Harwood, who's been on this show, and see what Bill's saying. I consider him the dean of space journalists, and he would tell you the truth there. So what's odd about this is they're going to, in the middle of the day, undock. That's Tuesday the 25th. And land at 4:50 in the middle of the night, right before 5 a.m. In New Mexico at White Sands. So, and it's going to land on land, cushioned by a bag of air, basically airbag that deploys at the last minute. They've done this before. In fact, that's how this very same Calypso Boeing spacecraft came back twice. This is actually its 3rd flight to space, the first crewed. I'll be looking forward to that. Well, the weekend's upon us, and we're going to quickly be going through next week, and then everyone's going to have 4th of July fever, because 4th of July is on a Thursday this year. So some of you will be checking out a big, long weekend. Hope you can enjoy it and get under some starry skies. If you do, take with you a free map at skymaps.com. You can download this map. There's the Sky Maps part of it, right there in the lower left-hand corner. The blue part is the Milky Way that's getting into our skies there. So let me look at my notes here. Okay. So as we're talking about astronomy and talking about when you can see the stars, well, the big deal about the first day of summer is it's the longest day. And here in Titusville, we're actually going to have 16 hours of daylight, Marty. All right. Sunrise is 6:26 a.m., sunset 8:24. So that's just 2 minutes shy of 12 hours of daylight. But you got twilight, sunrise, and sunset twilight is each an hour. So that adds 2 hours to that 14 hours of daylight we're going to have. So, but if you're up at the Arctic Circle, the sun will not set below the horizon all day today. It'll be above the horizon. So, all right. So what else we got going on? Yep, we got that big old moon up in the sky. You've been following the beautiful moon there. The
Keep hitting the wrong button.
there we go. The big full moon there photo I've taken, shown it a few times before. The full moon of June arrives the 21st, tomorrow, 9:08 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So tonight is a great night to get it rising above the horizon with the horizon lit up. A good photo opportunity the next couple nights. A lot is being said that this is the strawberry moon, okay? No, it's not going to look like a strawberry. And no, it's not going to be red like strawberries. By the way, the two photos of the moon there, and I'm going to point out errors, we do not see the moon like that. That is a photograph well publicized from Apollo 10 coming back from the moon. This big circle in the middle, that's Mercurium, and that's on the right-hand side of the moon. You cannot see all this over on the, you can't see all this over here from Earth. That's the back side of the moon. So I hate that when they do that. Look at the difference. See Mercurium up at the top, Marty? The round oval up there.
Can we point it out?
Yeah, point it out. Yeah. Get a little astronomy knowledge here, and my pet peeve of not, yeah, that's the Sea of Crisis, that round oval there. And here it is in the middle of the moon at the top. Marty's going to raise that up there just to show you. Well, you can raise that up there, Marty, to show you. That's above, right up above. Yeah, that's Mercurium right there. And there you see it right in the middle of the moon. No, that's not how we're going to see the moon. The moon will always look like this. All right. Wobbles a little bit, but not much. So, but no strawberry color to it. It's just going to, why they call it strawberry moon? Well, the Native American Algonquin tribes, the Northwestern Owajabi, the Dakota and Lakota tribes use that name to mark the harvesting of strawberries in June. And we know everybody's enjoying some strawberries up there in the Midwest. Great place to grow them. We enjoy our strawberries down here about February, don't we, Marty? I guess when the strawberry festival over in Tampa area, Lake City and all that is. So, of course, we have a different type of climate down here. But you know what? It's also called the honeymoon. Think of all you June brides, okay? Now, here's another mistake of the moon, because Mercurium is at the lower left-hand corner. They flip the moon completely around. I don't know why they do this, but that is not how we see the moon. They've got it flipped like that. However, there's a couple smooching under the moon. Those of you June brides, a honeymoon. Does that have anything to do with the moon? It was like the original thought was that the first month of any marriage is the honey or sweet time of the moon. But no, the honeymoon comes from the moon having a honey color when it's rising low in the horizon. Now we're at a phase of the moon where it is staying very low in the sky even when it's at its highest point. And I'm going to show you a chart to emphasize that here next. But there's the moon rising over the Atlantic Ocean. There's a couple walking across there. The honey colors caused by the atmosphere and a lot of fires being burnt, and the people outside noticing the moon. The color of the soot in the air can make the moon change colors, and like it does here on this moonrise. So honeymoon can be the honey color. On the left is the sun. The sun in the wintertime makes a smaller arc and stays further south. Right now the sun's at its highest point. Just the opposite for the moon. The moon's at its lowest point in the sky, crossing the horizon. In the summertime, where the sun is at its highest, the moon is highest in the winter when the sun is at its lowest. So they're always mimicking each other that way. And so, talking about the moon, we're going to hear some headlines about the moon, as this is the Chinese Chang'e 6 moon lander that landed on the moon about a month ago. Okay. And there's my daughter, Jessica. Hi, Jessica, saying enjoying strawberries here in East Tennessee. So, hello, Jessie, my daughter, and hello, my granddaughters, McKinley and Macy. So they're joining Mia, 3M's on here today. And Dave Stange says him and his wife Julie were wedding anniversaries, their 38th wedding anniversary. But you can go to Stellarium and look at kind of what moon it was back then. So it was great to meet you and Julie both here on there. So, and my daughter's saying hi there. So, hello, kids. Grandpa's here in a little bit of lunacy as usual as we talk about the Chinese lander on the moon. Doesn't this look like the Grumman lunar module? The descent stage landed, scooped up some rocks, about 4 pounds, put it in the top stage. It lifted off over 2 weeks ago, met another spacecraft orbiting the moon. They're still orbiting the moon. They've transferred it, and they are waiting now for the transfer to happen in the right opportunity for them to leave lunar orbit and come back to Earth on Tuesday. As they're predicting. Also the landing of Calypso, Starliner's Calypso on Tuesday. So Tuesday's going to be a big day. But you're going to hear in the next day or two that the Chang'e 6 sample return is on its way back from the moon. It's orbiting right now. Well, we've got a lunar orbiter, or lunar reconnaissance orbiter that orbiting the moon for 12 years, and it is photographed very detailed, everything that's landed on the moon. And it took this photo released this week of Chang'e 6 descent stage, Marty, on the surface of the moon, just like it's found the lunar modules of the 6 Apollo landings. And notice the white around that wasn't like that. The descent stage put a lot of debris and chemicals, of course, on the surface of the moon. But right in the center there is the lander of it there. Look, it landed between 2 craters. This is really always interesting to look at. It was very lucky not to land. And why didn't it go a little bit further to the north there, where it looks like it was a little bit clearer? It had artificial intelligence, and it really kind of nestled itself in a tough spot there. It's in a crater called Apollo. You can't make that stuff up. Chinese landing in the Apollo crater. After our moon program. Then there up the top you see Chaffee, after Roger Chaffee, or some craters named after him there. So all right, so we're going to look forward to that coming up next week. Another historic day where we're bringing back pieces of the moon from a Chinese probe. This will be the second time that China's done this. Russia, I think, had 3 missions that brought back automatic rocks and soil from the moon, each time a couple ounces. Well, China's been bringing back like 2 kilograms, which is 4 pounds. And they said they would share some of it with the scientific community. This is a place, we repeat, at the South Pole, where they believe there's ice frozen in the lunar soil, called regolith, the soil is called, and all the ingredients to make fuel, water, oxygen, and so forth. Even water to make bricks, hopefully, is what China's going to try if they find what they need to find there. So very ambitious program to the South Pole of the moon for China. And we will be interested how the beginning of next week turns when they bring this material back to somewhere in Russia, in the Siberia plains, I believe. Well, Asteroid Day is the weekend of July 28th and 29th, and the 30th is the day when I think they said it was about half a mile wide object blew up over Siberia in 1903. It could be 1908, and leveled millions of forest around it. Had this exploded over Moscow, it would have killed everybody there. So it's a case of not if, but when a killer asteroid will hit. This is awareness of it. And behind and starting this was astronaut Rusty Schweiker of Apollo 9. and rock star guitarist for Queen, Brian May, who's a doctor of planetary astronomy and very involved in this asteroid day. Astronaut Mark Polanski of NASA is going to be there. Julie Payette, Canadian astronaut, who we just adore and have seen talk out the Space Center several times. And Romanian cosmonaut Dimitri Panaria. And we had our friend Alex Carl talk about this about a week ago. So go to our podcasts on YouTube and just you can see the talk about the Asteroid Day event that Alex Carl, who's a ESA communicator for the space station, is involved in. So we'll be talking more about that next week. So, got to get my birthday hat, Marty, and get my notes. This is a great day to be an astronaut, okay? 5 space flyers were born on June 20th in space history, and all but one of them are alive to talk about their adventures. So, called to make up a meme there or slide. You got Ulf Mulberg, Ulf Mulhold. He is 83 years old today. Born in Gretz, Germany. You've got Jim Buckley, is 70, what's he, 78? No, 79 years old. Born in Fargo, North Dakota there. We'll profile him in just a second. But we'll talk about him in a second. Got Gary Payton, Brian Duffy, and the late Elon Ramon all born at this time here. So I got a little slide of all of them to talk about there, but you got Germany, you got Illinois there, Rock Island, Illinois, Fargo, North Dakota, Boston, Massachusetts, and Israel represented on this day in history. Now this is Ulf Dietrich Merbold, the German physicist, was a payload specialist on 3 space flights, 50 days in space, STS-9 in 83, which was John Young's last flight as a commander, last flight at all. It was the first Space Lab flight. In STS-42, and then he rode a Soyuz TM-20 to space in there. And let's see, do I have another picture of Merbold? Yeah, there we are. There he is with his ESA stuff on there. Of course, a great advocate of the space program in Germany. The next astronaut born today, we got Jim Buckley. Born June 20th, 1945, grew up in Fargo, North Dakota. He's got 4 space flights, 20 days in space, 51C, 61A, 29, and 48. So a real pioneer of the space shuttle program in the 80s. His last flight in 1991. He is in the Astronaut Hall of Fame. I got a picture of him beside those beautiful lucite, acrylic type of thing they have there. So hope he's enjoying his birthday today. And then we've got a one and done astronaut, Gary Payton. Still doesn't matter. He had enough training and guts and everything to do that on 51C when they just wore that outfit in space, coveralls, in 1985. He was on the first Department of Defense mission on there. So Rock Island, Illinois, pride of that city there. And Brian Duffy, there's Gary Payton there. Brian Duffy, we've met many times. I didn't have time to pull up a picture of him out at the Space Center, but we always enjoy his talks out there in the Astronaut Encounter with Nick Thomas. By the way, Nick will be on July 1st, will be Nick Thomas's next appearance here on a Monday. Brian's got 4 space flights, 2 as a pilot, 2 as a commander, with a total of 40 days in space. Those would be STS 45, 57. He commanded 72 and 92. And he was the commander of our good friend on 72 of Winston Scott. So he's also a Hall of Fame inductee there next to his acrylic thing there. And there's Mr. Elon Ramon, who would be 70 years old today. Lost his life, of course, in the Challenger disaster. And we always want to, one of the few astronauts that we do speak of after they've been gone. But what a historic day to have these 5 astronauts all born on June 12th. So, all right, let's talk about what we love talking about here on our program particularly the shuttles. And the shuttles of the month of June, what a great array of shuttles. I'll put my glasses on here. As you look at the slides there, you've got the first Mir and the last Mir mission, okay? 71, the first Mir mission in 1995 docking, and 91 up there in the left-hand corner, the last one in 1998. You've got the last two-man mission ever flown by America in the month of June. That would be STS-4, the final checkout of Columbia in 1982 by Ken Mattingly and Hartsfeld. You've got the first American woman to go to space. We got that covered here in just a minute. The first prince to go to space, okay? Prince, he went up on, which I know what that looks like there. The first prince is on, oh my, that's 41G, the upper right-hand corner there, Al Saad up there. And he's still involved in the space program for Saudi Arabia. So, oh, what else we have? 4 space labs, 2 satellite deployments, 2 ISS hard hat missions. So there's my little schedule there as I look down at today, the 20th. You've got orbiting the Earth, 117, 41G, STS-7, and STS-8. And STS-57 is launched tomorrow on June 21st. So let's look at STS-7. Thank you, Tom Usiak, for that beautiful shot of the pad there. This first time we had 7 in space. 5 in space. First time we had 5 in space, okay. The 7 up at the top, up there for the STS-7 flight in the program. The robotic arm being tested out there, and the 7 made with it. Here's the astronauts we've got on board. Of course, this is Challenger. All right, and let me talk about the, let's go back here to the, of course, you know I'm going to talk about the artwork. The orbiter Challenger making his second flight into space is featured on the art for the insignia. The remote manipulator arm is poised such that the number 7 is formed. Likewise, 7 stars are visible against the black sky. Within the sun center are representations for the 5 crew members in the sun center over here to the right, including the first time NASA space program a woman, Sally Ride, was a specialist. The crew members' names are on the outside edge there. So it stayed up till June 24th and landed out in California. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, it had deployed 3 satellites, had 10 other instruments in the payload bay, and this was what the space shuttle was built to do, be the space truck to go take up satellites. NASA was so arrogant, in fact, Marty, that, and I call it arrogance, that they said, forget about your single stick rockets. Everybody's going to launch on the shuttle. And of course the Titan people and the Atlas people and they didn't pay attention to that. Well, there's the walkout. All right, I think that is a Tom Usiak photograph of that walkout there with Bob Crippen, Fred Houck was the pilot, John Fabian, and John's the tall one behind Sally Ride. He's out at the Space Center today. Marty, you got an autograph from him today, didn't you?
Sure did.
Yeah, I'm going to go out and see him probably over the weekend. And his nephew, Rob Fabian, is the president of our local rocket company, Via. So let's see in there. Let's see here. Catching up with Tom's watching on his way home from Philadelphia. Tom Usiak. And Tom Celentano said he saw those 2 launches, 50 and 117. Great experiences. And Carlton saying howdy. And from his hacienda, Carlton Bailey, launch photographer. And they've been in and out of trying to get this launch. It's going to go in about an hour, 5:35, for an SCS European communications satellite for Luxembourg. Weather's been kind of real bad here lately with the rain. And there's the crew in space. Norm Thagard as part of that crew right there in the front. And we get to see Norm 2 or 3 times a year at the Space Center, as well as John Fabian. Young girls need to see role models in whatever careers they may choose. You can't be what you can't see. And I just love that saying by Sally Ride. She knew what her role was. She knew that millions of little girls and big girls alike were going to be watching her, being inspired by her. And we've talked to 3 or 4 women astronauts who become astronauts because of Sally Ride. Died way too young of cancer about 12 years ago. And we've got her handprints in here in our museum. Should have threw them up there. Well, as we're rounding home, coming in for a home slide, we've got another mission that also emphasizes the sun in its patch, and that is STS-78, the Life and Microgravity Space Lab that was actually launched on June 20th, 1996, and stayed up till July 7th, almost a 17-day mission, very long. We were highlighting the STS-7 that was launched on June 18th. All right, just because we love talking about that mission, Sally Ride. This mission, let's look at the patch of this one of 78. The mission links the past with the present through a patch influenced by the Pacific Northwest Native American art. I love this one every time I talk about it. Central to the design is Columbia, whose shape evokes the image of an eagle. See the little extra artwork they put on the shuttle there to look like an eagle. An icon of power and prestige and the national symbol of the U.S. The eagle's feathers, representing peace and friendship, symbolize the spirit of international unity. An orbit surrounding the mission number recalls the traditional NASA emblem. Okay. And the Life Sciences and Microgravity Lab, LMS, is housed in the payload bay and is depicted in a manner reminiscent of totem art of Native Americans. The pulsating sun, a symbol of life, displays 3 crystals representing the 3 high-temperature microgravity materials processing facilities on board the orbiter. And the constellation Delphinus recalls the dolphin, friend of the sea and explorers, each star representing 1 member of the international crew. Now that looks nothing like Delphinus, okay, in the sky, which is a hard constellation to see in the southern part of the sky anyway. But nonetheless, the colored thrust rings at the base of Columbia signify the 5 continents of Earth united in global cooperation for the advancement of all humankind. So see in the SSMEs and the hypergolics, the OMS engines, thanks Marty, the OMS engines, they're colored there, each different color. So that's really some detail there. Patch was designed by artist Bill Hyland. So quite an ambitious one, packed with a lot of meaning and symbolism in that. So Terrence Hendricks, commander, Kevin Kegel, the pilot, Susan Helms, Richard Linehan, Charles Brady, Jacques Favier, and Bob Thirst, who we met Bob Thirst and thoroughly enjoy him. That's the only astronaut that crew I met, Marty. But all of them we'd love to see out the Kennedy Space Center. So that's here's the crew in space. As we go, that's Thirsk above me here.
Linehan was here 3 months ago.
Yeah, Linehan was here, Marty. Thank you. I missed Linehan. Celentano says, I think 78 was the only 2 times during the shuttle where the commander and pilot flew on the same missions, huh? Okay, I'll check that out. That's pretty cool. Hendricks and Kriegel. All right, I'll look at that afterwards there. So, all right. Mark Thiel, he said he loved my hat, Marty. So, you bet. I love my props, that's for sure. But we love seeing everybody in space. That's Susan Helms right up there looking upside down. There's the lab. that they worked on in the background with the thin blue line. The only border that should matter in our lives is that thin blue line there in every astronaut, including Nicole Stock champions, that particularly. So, all right, we got some shuttles in the month of June. We've been very busy with guests and so forth. And so I thought, we'd end the program with a little bit of space optimism and something to cool you all with, as this is about minus 250 below zero, where we're looking at the moon Enceladus. That's right. Some of you may have known that. Enceladus is, in fact, a very small moon of Saturn. It is the sixth largest moon of Saturn in size, 19th ranked in the solar system, only 320 miles across. But this is ranked above the Titan moon, that's about our size of our moon, really big, over 2,000 miles across. Titan is a target for life, as is the moon Europa of Jupiter's, okay? So why we're talking about this is ESA has created a Voyager 2050 deep space program, where by 2050 they want to be investigating 4 or 5 moons of Saturn, Jupiter, and other objects in the solar system. This is their sort of mantle they're putting the ESA program on. It's got the funding, and here is a fresh, icy crust hides an enigmatic ocean around Enceladus. Enceladus, by the way, is one of the Greek mythological giants. Enceladus is the son of Gaia, the earth, and Uranus, which is the god of the sky. So this moon is an important moon in mythology, born from the earth and the sky gods. If we could take it apart, and we know this is a photograph taken by the Cassini spacecraft that orbited for about 12 years Saturn, and occasionally came close to all the moons and really optimized it. So we know what's going on there very well. And what's going on is there is a energy source inside caused by the pull of gravity on this small moon from Saturn as it orbits around it, creates heat inside. That heat warms up the ice underneath the ice surface, creates a liquid ocean that they believe this small moon of only 350 miles across contains more water under its surface than all the oceans of the earth. All right. So they're planning on launching a mission in the 2040s on the Ariane 6 rocket. All right. And they're very serious about finding life on this. You have plumes of water burst through cracks in the ice, shooting into space. An intrepid lander would go there, collect samples, and analyze them for hints of life, maybe even drill down or try to find an opening to get in there. There's even proposals for snake-like robots with lights on them to go inside underneath the crusty ice of these moons, which Europa of Jupiter has a crust structure like this, and Titan has rivers of methane and lakes of methane on it. All these moons are super cold, below 200 below zero, but that doesn't matter because all space is cold usually. But when things warm up, things happen, and we photograph these geysers breaking out of there. So we're looking forward to Enceladus. Has everything that a planetary scientist dreams about, including the presence of liquid water, a source of energy, and a specific set of chemical elements that have been analyzed by the Cassini spacecraft's close encounters over the years. So Enceladus checks all 3 boxes for life. What's that life going to look like, Marty? Maybe something like this. Sure, we'd settle for that. That's life. Okay. Sea monkeys. All right, we'll take it. Little brine shrimp in there. So cool. Well, thank you for watching today. Thank you, Tom Celentano. He said that Hendricks and Kriegel flew on STS-70 also. So that's cool. We'll feature them together there. That's a great.
As commander and pilot.
Yeah, as commander and pilot, Tom Celentano, love you for pointing that out. I've wanted to, wondered if that ever repeated myself again. You're usually twice a command pilot and then a commander. So, all right. So we're talking to my granddaughter McKinley. Hi, honey, and hello there, Macy. They're just 2.5 and half a year old, okay, but the little one's looking up at Grandpa's voice. So. And she's got 2 new bottom teeth. So we love our grandkids, don't we? There, Tommy Usack. Of course he does. And all of us out there. Dave Stangy's got his on his lap there. Little Mia. So bring the kids on board. We want them to get this dose of space early in life so that they can stay curious. All right. So, Marty, thank you for a good job today. Tomorrow, we're going to hit the auction heavy. Okay. We want, there's some really cool items on there. I want y'all to see that's on there. And if you have some extra money, we know this is tough times all over the place. All right. The bills at the American Space Museum have gone up 1/3 since January, for example. And we know everybody just cringes when they go to the grocery store or get a good meal at a restaurant. So, but there's some awesome things that you don't want to pass up. One-of-a-kind items, space-flown flags, lots of astronaut autographs, all on our auction coming up here Saturday. Go to our website, click that QR code. You'll figure it all out. So thank you all for watching today. Let me get that out of there, make my head a little bit bigger. And thank you all for spending your time today with me, Mark Marquette, as I'm here 5 days a week and anytime you want on YouTube, just to bridge the space between us. Thank you all.